What resources did you find helpful when you were trying to figure out what was going on, like books or website or?
There was nothing at the time until I met the woman, the hospice nurse. And she said, after being very graciously listening to my story, and she was looking down like this, she was tapping. And then when I finished, she looked up at me and she said, it sounds like what's happening to you is called an out-of-body experience. And if that's the case, I'm going to be really pissed off because I've been trying to do this for years. Of course, you know, isn't the person who wants it to happen, it doesn't happen. The person who doesn't want it to happen, it happens to. So once I found that, Robert Monroe, how many of you have read Robert Monroe's books? So just 2 of you. 3? Read them. It will describe an out-of-body experience perfectly. So for someone like me, I had what's called a spontaneous out-of-body experience where I did not have an accident, I didn't have a near-death, it was just a spontaneous when I was trying to spiritually open up, which I didn't know at the time. And so he describes it perfectly because he was a radio announcer and he just took a nap on his couch and all of a sudden he was standing next to his body, intensely curious man, and began researching it. He's written Journeys Out of the Body. So he's written several books. They have the Monroe Institute that's in Virginia, if I'm remembering correctly. And so there they study people who've had out-of-body experiences, but if you want to learn how to have out-of-body experiences, they have courses and things, so you go and retreat there. They actually, Amy, picked me up in a chat room. Somehow they got word that I was describing the planets that I was going to. I was describing the other beings that I was seeing on other planets. And I'm just asking people, has anybody out there had this experience? And next thing you know, there was a man who wrote me, and in the chat, he was in the chat room, and he said, how did you get to Focus 27? And of course, I'm like, what's Focus 27? And he said, that's the place you keep going. How did you get there? How did you know how to get there? I'm like, I still don't know what you're talking about. He said, the place of the 2 moons where the people they look kind of Asian, or like they'd be from Mongolia, a little browner skin and the almond eyes, round faces. And I said, I don't know, I just go there. He said, that's really advanced place. Like, you have to know what you're doing to get there. Now, by this time, I'm kind of freaked out because I don't know this man. It turns out he's one of the astronauts that went to the moon, and so he's written a lot about out-of-body experiences, and he's worked a lot at the Monroe Institute. So he found me, and then I got a call from the Monroe Institute. And the woman that called me was the regional director for the West Coast, so they wanted to fly me out to the Monroe Institute. They wanted to hook me up to all kinds of wires and data so that I would have the out-of-body experience. And they said, well, being a nurse, you would probably find that really exciting because you'd get to kind of see what physiologically is happening at the body level. And I was just like, no way. I couldn't do it. I was too terrified. They continued to call me. She continued to call me until finally I said, look, my marriage is hanging by a thread. And I think I better learn how to stay in my body. And it looks like what you're doing is learning how to go out of the body. And I think I need to learn how to stay in. And but she was really great. She helped me a lot, but I did turn it down. And but Monroe Institute. So you can Google all that. You can look up books. Some of the books I've read on out-of-body experiences are really over-the-top complex. But Monroe Institute, I think, are quite good. They talk about using sound waves to help get you out of the body. So, great question.